What's up? Welcome back to another episode. I can't remember what I'm calling these things. We'll go with episode today of Ball Sports. And I am Matt Mascarenas, your host of Ball Sports. It's been a long time, a really long time. I think the last time I did one of these was maybe June, May, something like that. July at the latest. I got to look back at it, but I'm not 100% sure. But either way, I'm back. It's been a long time. I'm back, and I'm glad to be back. But uh, real quick, before we get started, I got to remember how to do everything here. If you want to get involved, if you want to get a part of the show, the best way to do that is you can follow me on Twitter at Matt Mascarenas at Matt underscore Mascarenas. Actually, that's on Instagram. Matt underscore Mascarenas on Instagram. You can follow the website on Elevation 5280 Radio. We have all our things there that we get out. Stay up to date on when these shows go out, whether it's via the podcast or the live stream. We do live streams as well. All that good stuff. You can follow us there on Instagram, on X at 5280 Sports Radio. Same kind of deal there. Follow us there. A lot of news, breaking stories, stuff like that. You get all that there. You can follow me at Matt Mascarenas1 on X if you want to follow what I do over there. I talk a lot of crap, I guess, mainly during basketball games. Sometimes during football games, mainly during basketball games where there's Nuggets games, particularly Nuggets games is when I get going. So if you want to follow a Nuggets fan whining about whining about the team or whining about other fans that are whining about the team, I've done that a lot lately. That's my kind of new lane. Is I like to go after the haters. Nobody really responds back. I don't know if I'm not being mean enough or it's because I make sense that nobody really responds back. But I don't know. Either way, because X is mostly for entertainment, right? Isn't it mostly for entertainment? Like you're not on there. That's not on there where you're not on there consuming all of your news and stuff. It's got to be for entertainment. I understand people, it's for the job and they get paid and they use, I get it, or they use that for an outlet to spread their business, to spread their content. We use it for the same thing. But for me personally, X really comes down to an entertainment. It's a lot. It's so funny, especially the past couple of weeks. It's been really funny. But yeah, that's how you can get a hold of us. Again, that's at 5280 Sports Radio on X and at Matt Mascarenas1. You can follow us there. And we will go. This show will go out on Facebook, Facebook Live, on X Live, and on YouTube Live. So when this show does go out, most of our shows, that's where they all go out, except for if you just get the podcast, then that's everywhere you can get your podcast, especially on Spotify, stuff like that. So go find us. If you want to, again, follow us at Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. That's the best place you can find us on all the platforms. Just type that in, bring us up, get us in, get us going. Check us out. If this is new, I hope you lasted through 4 minutes of me rambling. Anyway, like I said, it's been a long time, so I got to get back into the groove. Today on Ball Sports, where we talk ball, baseball, basketball. Not a lot of baseball. I've talked baseball in the past, but mainly basketball, football, and golf. Is anything basically you requires a ball. I'll talk about it. I'll have an opinion on it. Or I enjoy consuming it, watching it. Because first and foremost, I am a fan of all this stuff. I do have some, if you're new to the show, which I'm probably a lot of you are, or a lot of you just don't remember who I am, that's fine. I have a lot of experience in different aspects of ball sports. So basketball, baseball, football. I've seen it through every different lens you can imagine. And this year, I have seen it fully through the lens that has taken me a while, but as a parent. So um, I was able to see that through that lens. So that was really exciting. But I have a lot of viewing experience, a lot of being a part of different things in different ways, coaching, officiating, playing, and then now, like I said, being a parent. So I'm pretty, I enjoy it. I enjoy watching and consuming. So that's kind of what you're going to get from this show. Today, we are going to get into the weekend that was in the NFL. A lot of big games went down. I don't know. I don't know if we've ended up with like the Kansas City Chiefs. They finally lost, which it's kind of been like we're just waiting for this team to lose. They should have lost last week. Coulda, woulda, shoulda in that game against the Broncos, where you got to tip your hat to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not like the Broncos missed a field goal. The Chiefs blocked it, which in turn they won the game because they made a play to win the game. So you can't really look at that game and be like they got lucky. They took the game. They won the game by blocking the field goal. That's what happened. They finally lose this week to the Buffalo Bills. Are the Bills now considered the best team in the AFC, at least? On the other side, the NFC, the Lions dominate yesterday, and are they the best team in the league? So we'll look at that. The San Francisco 49ers, everybody was, CMC gets back. Everybody's getting healthy, thinking that they're getting ready to make a run. Well, they lose to the Seahawks on a last-second touchdown by Geno Smith. So the NFL is thrown up and just let's throw it up. And let's see where everything falls. There's really not a clear path. We'll kind of check into that as well. And also I'll talk about the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight, or the card that was out there. I know that has nothing to do with ball. Well, I mean, kind of, there's ways you can look at it. You can consider that, fighting takes balls to fight. I don't know. I mean, the best fight on that card didn't involve any of that. So that one of the best fights that I've seen in a long time, actually. But and I'm not surprised because those two boxers are pretty good. So we might get into the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight just because there's some kind of I don't know if I was taken by surprise by that fight or I should have known better. But we might get into that a little bit too. And then the NBA, the NBA Cup is going, it's rolling. And what do you think so far through the NBA, through the first month? Where are you at on it? Are you surprised? Are there some things that maybe that you didn't see coming? We'll get into that as well. But we'll kick it off in the NFL. Like I said, the Buffalo Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. And I mean, Josh Allen they kind of had a situation where it was 4th and 2, kicked the field goal, put them up by 5. And then you run the risk of Pat Mahomes coming back on you, what he's done so many times. So they avoid that and go for it on 4th and 2. And Josh Allen does what he does best and runs for a touchdown, puts the Bills up 30-21. And that was it. But the Bills go to 9-2, Chiefs 9-1. And I mean, Josh Allen was 262 for 1 touchdown, and we ran one in as well. But Pat Mahomes, I don't know where you are or where we're supposed to be on Pat Mahomes, because he hasn't had the best season. And the Chiefs overall haven't had a really good season, but you can't take anything away from them because they haven't lost until now. You could look at all those games that they've played up until this point at different situations and see this is where they're bad, this is where but they haven't lost. And they lost yesterday, but it wasn't like they were dominated. It wasn't like they were blown out. It wasn't like, Pat Mahomes was 23 for 33, 196 yards, still threw for three touchdowns. He's throwing picks at a little bit higher rate than he usually does, but I mean that's something. And then they're picks that could change things here and there, that can make the game go a different way. But still, he's Pat Mahomes. He still does the crazy things. He's still going to throw sidearm, throw with his left hand, throw it around his behind his back. He does the Pat Mahomes things still, but he's also throwing picks. And that last one towards the end was one that it's not like it was just throwing it up. So threw it up to Kelsey, and it was kind of like they're not. You can't really count that one against him. So I don't know if you're looking at the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes and saying that they're done, saying that this season is a wrap, that they're not going to. It's tough to win 2 Super Bowls in a row. And I'm not saying anything that nobody else has already said, but it's even tougher to win 3 in a row. And is there wear and tear on your brain, on your mind, on your psyche, on your on your attitude, on your mood, like everything about the season, everything going into it, there's all this, can you do it? Can you? And if you don't do it, or you don't win every single game, you're going to be looked at as a failure. You're going to be looked at as you're not any good. You're going to be looked at, oh, you fell off, you're done. When in actuality, they're 9-1. They're 9-1, and they've won games. Like I said last week, I don't look at that as them being lucky. They won the game. Their special teams came out on that final play and was the better. They were the better team on that final play, and they got the blocked field goal. They won the game. They lose this week. And then you go to the flip side of it, like this is this the coronation of Josh Allen now? Is going forward, are we looking at the Bills as the best team in the league? I don't think so. It's hard to hitch your wagon to Josh Allen until he does it in the playoffs, right? Because that's where he's at. That's where him and this Buffalo Bills team is. You can't give him all these excuses anymore of, oh, he lost Stephon Diggs. Well, he gained Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's pretty good wide receiver the last time I looked. I know he's down a tight end. It was like Dalton Kincaid, I think it is. Yeah, he's down a tight. He's down. He's out. You still got decent options there to throw the ball to. Again, like I'm not saying Amari Cooper and Stephon Diggs are the same, but that's still a big name receiver, a big name go get it type of receiver that can change the game. That changes the defensive game that you have to focus on, and you have to kind of game plan around. You do have to do that with Amari Cooper. You just like you did have to do that with Stephon Diggs. So I don't know if that's Curtis Samuel's a great type of receiver for this football team and for what they like to do. And Josh Allen's the focal point of the offense. I mean, he runs the football. He was the leading rusher yesterday with 55 yards, 12 carries for 55 yards. The running backs, James Cook got a couple touchdowns yesterday, but he had 9 carries yesterday. 9. So Josh Allen's the focal point of this offense. And everything revolves around him. He's got a lot of weapons out there. He does. I just went through them. He's got weapons out there. So, but the whole thing on him is he's got to do it in the playoffs. Josh Allen has to do it in the playoffs. Till he does, it's hard to hitch his wagon. You're hard to hitch your wagon to him. And I understand that. I can see that. I don't think this win does anything until Pat Mahomes is like, they're at the point where you got to do it to me in the playoffs. For me to really look at you as being, okay, oh man, you got to do it in the playoffs. And they haven't done it. Nobody's done it to the Chiefs in the playoffs, not named Tom Brady or that fluke, because you can call it a fluke now of Joe Burrow. So I'm like Ric Flair in this situation. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And this wasn't a situation where you beat the man to become the man. Like that, it was not. I don't think that game. Buffalo did what they needed to do. They showed their dominance at home against the Chiefs. That's all you take away from this game. But I don't think you're tossing the Chiefs out. And saying they're done, they're cooked. And I don't think you're looking at the Bills and saying, "Oh, that's it. They take the next step and they're going to the Super Bowl." I don't think that's happening. Especially when you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Mike Tomlin. This is the Mike Tomlin show. Okay? Mike Tomlin is probably, outside of Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of since, when did he take over? I got to go back like late 2000 to the late early 2000s, or I want to call it, how do I even say that? It was past, I could look it up, but that would take me forever. But I'm lazy, I guess. But in my opinion, Mike Tomlin, outside of Bill Belichick, is the greatest coach. Probably, if he wins another, outside of winning the Super Bowls, because you always look at championships. You always throw championships into when you're talking about the greatest. Outside of that, but just pure longevity, and it's a Pittsburgh Steelers tradition to be a long tenured coach. They've only had 3 coaches, the way I understand it. Was it Noel? Chuck Noll, I think. And then Bill Cowher, and then now Mike Tomlin. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are 8-2. They got the quarterback. They got the right quarterback. Russell Wilson is the perfect quarterback for them in their situation. They like to run the ball, and they like to play defense. And they like to go deep. Like to throw deep balls, and Russell Wilson's still one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. Everything else is kind of slacked off, and it is what it is. But he's still the same Russell Wilson. Like everybody's kind of even there's even talk about him. Where was this Russell? It was the same dude. It was the same. You watch him, it was the same Russell Wilson that you saw with the Broncos last year. It was, but the Broncos weren't built like the Steelers are, And the Steelers they win games 16-18. The Broncos want to score a lot of points. Sean Payton wants to score a lot of points. That's what he wants to do. The Steelers are good enough scoring anywhere from 13 to 20 points and being just fine with that. They win 18-16 yesterday, beating the Baltimore Ravens. Now, another thing that you're going to hear out of this weekend, like I just went over with the Chiefs, and the Bills are the Chiefs cooked. The Bills, the team to beat now. Now Lamar's cooked. He can't do this. The Ravens are cooked. They can't. You're hearing all that now. You're not hearing a lot of Pittsburgh being the best team in the AFC. Pittsburgh do the playoffs go through Pittsburgh? Man, why not? Like, why not? Why not the road through the AFC goes through Pittsburgh? They're 8-2 right now. They play in a dirty division. I know Baltimore, but you got to get Baltimore. Obviously, boom, you got Baltimore. They just beat Baltimore. Cincinnati's still is going to give you a hell of a game. Cleveland's going to give you a hell of a game. Cleveland beat the Ravens this year. And with what Jameis Winston's doing now, Nick Chubb's back, what Jerry Jeudy's doing, they've unlocked some things in Cleveland. The AFC North is going to be tough going down the stretch. Could we look at, the situation of the Bills are like the Patriots were back when they were doing their dominance? There was no competition in your division. That's what we're looking at right now with the Bills. You could say the same thing for the Chiefs. I'm not looking at the Broncos or the Chargers right now and saying that they're going to make life difficult for the Chiefs in that division. The Broncos already almost beat them. Yeah, in KC, sure, okay, but But I mean, there's still that big brother comes into town, or we got to go play big brother when you're talking about the Chiefs and the Chargers. I don't know if they've done that, if they've taken that step yet. Like the Steelers in this division has always been like, we got to go play the Steelers. We're going to play the Steelers. We got to go here. The Steelers are coming to town. It's always been like that. And this could be, I kind of feel funny even bringing this up, but you could look at this like SEC versus the Big Ten, in college football. Like, where's the better football at? Right now, you could make a case for the best football being in the AFC North right now. And if Pittsburgh's got to go through those teams to get through, to get into the playoff, to have to make and if they go through all that and they're like a 1 or 2 seed in the playoffs, does anybody want to go to Pittsburgh and play in the playoff? No. Whether you have Russell Wilson, and it would be better off if it was Russell Wilson, because you get into the playoffs, and I think Russell Wilson it's a benefit for you to have that guy at quarterback, because you cannot take away his experience of being in the playoffs and the games that he's been through in the playoffs. Hell, I remember a lot being a Packers fan when you're going down there to watch them play in Seattle, that god awful game that was the year Aaron Rodgers, they would have won the Super Bowl. But there was a stupid there was a controversial call, but then there was a dumb onside kick situation where they didn't get it back, and like I think it bounced through the dude's hands. I can't remember exactly how. I picture it happening, but I can't remember exactly how it did. But Seattle and Russell Wilson, they had a lot of playoff tough play. Seattle and the Steelers, if you look at the way they're playing right now, and you look at the styles of teams that they've had with Pete Carroll and Mike Tomlin, the way that they like to win football games, very, very freaking similar. So to look at the Pittsburgh Steelers sitting there at 8-2 and beating the Ravens, they're 4-1 in the division. I haven't looked at the playoff, but because they're kind of, it's kind of too soon to look at the playoff standings. But why not? Why aren't the Steelers, or why can't the Steelers be looked at as being right now? So in the playoffs, they're listed as third in the playoffs. By the end of the year, KC's going to lose again. They might even lose multiple times. The Bills are going to lose again. If the Steelers keep doing what they're doing and they get through the end of the year and they're sitting in that 1 or 2 seed, even the 3 seeds, that's a tough get but you put them in that 1 or 2 seed, which is saying that they have a very good chance. All they have to do is win. You have to go to Pittsburgh. There's some other things that go down, but if you look at that Pittsburgh situation in general, that's like why not the Steelers? Why can't they be the best? Why can't they be one of the best teams in the AFC, or the best team in the AFC, or the team to beat in the AFC? Yeah, don't tell me their quarterback, because if you look at their quarterback situation, I know it's Russell Wilson, but if you're just going to go off of what you've seen in Denver, okay, I guess you can tell he's garbage, he's washed, he's trash, can't do it. But if you look you look at what he used to do in Seattle and how he did it in Seattle and how he's doing it now in Pittsburgh, it looks a hell of a lot. It looks very similar. Very, very similar to what it did in Seattle when he was good, when they were winning and they were playing good, or he was used to. It's more of what he's used to. He looks more engaged. He looks like that. He looks like that old Russell Wilson. And like I said, if you watch his games, don't get me wrong, he is not lighting it up, but he looks the same. He looks very, very similar to the way he played last year here in Denver, but it's in a different situation, and the Steelers situation they're fine with that. I'm telling you, it just looks very similar to the way it did in Seattle, and that was a pretty good situation for a while there. That's all I'm saying. I just don't sleep on the Steelers, or I don't think anybody's sleeping on the Steelers, but don't leave them out of the conversation when it comes to being the best team in the AFC, because I think the Steelers have a very, very good gripe that if we do what we need to do and we win in this division, and they're the AFC North, if they get out of that division and they can control it and keep, maybe go when they have to go to, because they're going to have to go to Baltimore. This game was at Pittsburgh. They're going to have to go to Baltimore and get a win there. They do it then. Oh, boy. I mean, it's going to be a tough road because, like I said, I don't think the Chiefs are firing on all cylinders. The Chiefs don't look like they did that first year they won the Super Bowl when they started this back-to-back trend. I don't think they looked at. I think that was probably the best team, the best Chiefs team I've seen. They're pretty good last year, but I think last year was the best Chiefs team I'd seen. Because that was a Tyreek Hill Chiefs. The Tyreek Hill version of the Chiefs was the best team. And then I don't think Buffalo. I don't think the Bills. And I mean, it's hard to hitch your wagon to Josh Allen when you hasn't seen him do it in the playoffs. You've seen Russell Wilson do it in the playoffs. Okay, this is where we're looking at now, right? Like if we're taking a team that's going to go through the AFC playoffs, that's going to do it, that's going to take over. Don't you want that experience? You can't look at Josh Allen and say, I would rather have him with his playoff experience, and then you have Russell Wilson over here, and I'd rather. If you're looking that way, there's a very good case you can make that I'm going to take Russell Wilson in that scenario, in that situation, in the playoffs to win a football game. I'm going to take Russell Wilson and his experience and Mike Tomlin's experience and the experience of just the way that team is built. I'm going to take that over. Don't remember, there were some issues with the Bills last year. McDermott looks like he's got it settled down this year and kind of sort of looks okay, but I would take the situation with the Steelers over what you have in Buffalo right now. So, like I said, I think you can make a good case for the Steelers being the best team in the AFC this year. But there's no case in the NFC, if you ask me, and it pains me to say it because I've been a Lion hater. I don't know how you want to call it, but I've been a Lion hater for a long time. Even when they got DC in there, Dan Campbell, I was just not a big fan. I feel like a lot of his stuff was a lot of rah-rah, a lot of blah-blah, and it didn't do anything for me. I felt like last year he made a lot of decisions, coaching decisions where you learn from, and I will see if you learn from this year, but that puts your team in a situation where you didn't have to always fly half-cocked. You didn't always have to just unload and go out just because you did it in the regular season. And you're like, well, we did it in the regular season. We got it. There's a lot of things that I saw with that coaching that I was like, we've seen a lot of these guys before. We've seen them before. We've seen them come, we've seen them go. And there's nothing special with what he's doing. Well, they're pretty darn good this year. And that guy right there, Jared Goff, I know he's coming off a game where he tossed 5 interceptions and just something gnarly, some nasty, gnarly game. And I understand that's tough to come back, but he did it just fine. 4 touchdowns yesterday, 24-29. That is dirty. And he goes back to his streak of, just being the most accurate NFL quarterback this season. Jameson Williams went off. Montgomery had 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra had 2 touchdowns, 161 yards. I mean, this was just a very, very good team beating up on a bad team that's going to get their coach is going to be fired pretty soon. So you had Mac Jones starting on the other end. I mean, there's nothing even to look for on that other side. Hendon Hooker got some run in yesterday, 3 or 4, 37 yards. Hendon Hooker, who was a really good college quarterback. I liked him a lot in college. Jahmyr Gibbs has a touchdown. I mean, just what you got going on in Detroit, their defense is great. Their offense is good. Jared Goff is playing great football when he's not throwing 5 interceptions in a row. I think that game was an outlier, an anomaly. I don't know if it's going to happen again. But even though I think the Lions are it. I mean, it's Lions and Philly, right? And if you look at Philly, Um, they get that big win on Thursday night against Washington, which that division, I feel like that division could be pretty nasty too if you didn't have the freaking dog butt Cowboys in it. But that division could be pretty competitive too. So it's you got Philly's 8-2, and Detroit is what are they, 9-1? Or did they lose 2 games? How many games did Detroit lose? 9-1. Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't remember them losing another game. But the NFC, like it does the NFC go through Detroit? I think it does. Philly can make a case. Saquon Barkley is changing that team and changing that whole situation for the better. It was kind of getting dicey there towards the end of the season. You guys, I know we all remember that. God, how many games did they lose in a row? It was a bunch, but it was like the wheels were coming off. I thought I always call him Satriani, but Sirianni, I thought he was going to be, the guitarist. Remember Joe Satriani? Sorry, that's terrible. I take that back. I can edit that out since this is a recording. I might do that. When did that happen? 31:40. Okay, got it marked. Edit out. Anyway, back to it. And I still think Sirianni's a doofus. I really do, man. I thought that dude coming in was kind of going to be somebody that you'd have to watch and be entertaining, and then he kind of like he got him playing well, but then all of his assistants left. You had the one go to Arizona, and then where'd the other one go? Was it Indy? Anyway, you had some gone, So when it comes to that situation, I don't know. And that's what the hardest thing was for me to get on with the Celtics too, was Crazy Joe. I felt like Joe Mazzulla was going to hurt that team, but then they won the championship and he was kind of good coming down the end or coming down the stretch. I've liked what he's done so far this year. I've liked his take on the game, his reaction to the game, how he coaches and everything. I've become a fan of Joe Mazzulla, going from not trusting him to being a fan of him now. And now I look at Sirianni. I don't know if I can do that. I still get that like weirdo vibe from him. I still get the like he's trying to screw it up, or I don't. There's a lot of things that I really just rub me the wrong way with Sirianni. But Saquon Barkley, I think, has saved that team. If they didn't get a signing or they didn't get a player like Saquon, who you can look at him and say he's got all the ammunition to be a dog, all the ammunition to come back, all the ammunition that he has because of the way things were handled in New York, which is an absolute dumpster fire, by the way. That organization, who is benching Daniel Jones and going to Tommy DeVito. Was it DeVito or Da Vinci? DeVito, right? I got to get one of those guys that I could just say, hey, can you look that up for me, or can you check that? One of those guys, just set him back there in the corner and feed him, or even a her. I'm whatever. If just put him back there in the corner and look up stuff for me, because here at E52A Sports, we believe in a all reaction, no research policy. So it's how we work. It's who we work for. So, but they're overlooking Drew Lock, who they gave a $5 million contract, like it's a pretty big, hefty contract to. They're just blowing by him. So that would give you the indication that they're looking to keep losing. If they went with Drew Lock, would that be a notion that they're going to try to win? I don't know. So they go to DeVito. So now you got the Giants on your schedule one more time that you got to go play if you're Philly. Along with the Cowboys, who are guaranteed W's. Because that's what's hard for me to look at a team in a division. And I know you can only play the teams that are in your division. Those are what count towards your record, towards your seeding, and all that, blah, blah, blah. But when you have teams that that have automatic dubs on their schedule, like the Bills do, like the Eagles do now with the Cowboys and the Giants, it's tough to look and see where they're at. But I think as far as Detroit goes, Philly is the other team that can, look at it and like, okay, I could see the road through the NFC going through Philly. I could, but right now it goes straight through Detroit and Dan Campbell and Jared Goff, who just can't miss a pass. So I mean, that's kind of where my mindset is on the NFL. It's just I'm not bearing the Chiefs. Not when they have Pat Mahomes. It's just like in the NBA. I'm not gonna bury the Nuggets or lose my brain about the Nuggets. Not when they still have Nikola Jokic healthy and playing, even though he hasn't played in a couple games. Personal. So I still believe that if you have that player, and you do have that player in Pat Mahomes, as long as he's still there, there's no shot that you can bury that team, that you can say they're washed. I get it. Pat hasn't had a good season statistically and in game. But again, there's still times he makes those plays that nobody else is going to make, that puts you in a situation to win the game. And you can look at it like, hey, they have this year their defense is their best attribute. Their best side of the ball is the defense. Their best phase of the game is defense. So if this team can get you in a situation where you're winning games, almost kind of sort of like the Pittsburgh mindset, we score 20 points, we can hold them to 17. And that defense has kind of had that mindset this year, and it's kind of almost proven it until they played the Bills, which hung 30 on them. So it's, there's that mindset too, with Pat doesn't really have to do that much this year because the defense is a lot better than it has been. But there's a chance that the road can go through Pittsburgh in the AFC, but I feel like right now it's firmly set. Still, you got to beat the Chiefs. You got to beat the man to be the man. But I would love to see it going through. I would love to see it go through Steeltown. I really would. And then the Detroit, right now, Detroit, if they're the ones to lose it. I think they got it locked up. I think Detroit, the NFC is going to go through Detroit. If you want to get to the Super Bowl, you're going to have to go through Detroit. I really do. Kicking over to the NBA Cup has started up, and if you follow I just forgot our show that Mike Spillane and I do, The Wheelhouse, mostly every Sunday. I know I haven't been around past couple weeks. I'm back, but I have been out, and they have been gracious subs to fill in for me. So I love that. But we talked about it yesterday, and my biggest thing with the Cup is that who's it for? It's for if you realize that it's for teams like Cleveland, it's for teams like Detroit, it's for teams like Chicago. It may be in some cases like the Pacers, the Knicks, teams that are trying to get that winning, trying to get that championship feel. That I know Cleveland's like 15-0 right now, and they're really good. But last year the Lakers won, and it was the greatest thing for the NBA for the Lakers to win. And I think that this year, if you get one of these up and coming teams, one of these like I said, like the Orlando Magic, the Knicks, the Pistons, the Hawks, just a team like the Rockets. I could keep going on with teams like that. This is what this tournament's for. And if you can get one of those teams up, you can get one of those situations in, I think you'll be good. I think it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. I'll watch it. But if you're looking like teams like us here in Denver, like the Nuggets have no interest in the in-season tournament. Nikola hasn't any interest in it. I don't think Mike Malone cares for it. They just have no interest. So we're sitting over here like I'm going to have an in-season tournament team. Like that's what I'm looking at right now. But the NBA as a whole has gone through its first month. And I mean, after the first month, we call it 15, 16 games. Some teams have more, but it's typically the first 15 to 14 games. The surprises, I already mentioned Cleveland. They're 15-0. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Levert, Jarrett Allen. There's that team. Nobody really looked at this and saying that they would be doing this. They're scoring 123 points a game and holding teams. They got a 12.3 differential, which is pretty freaking good. They're not just barely squeaking by. They're blowing out teams. The Celtics look like a defending champion. They look really good. Again, like I said, my admiration for Joe Mazzulla has grown this season and the end of last season and even into this season, and I'm a fan of him now. 10.2 differential, so they are playing really good basketball. Orlando Magic is a surprise team, I guess you could say, in the Eastern Conference. But like I will get into, the Eastern Conference is the cream is starting to rise to the top, and then there's a lot of crap in the middle. But the Orlando Magic 8-6, the Knicks are 7-6 after making the big trade for Karl Anthony Towns. The Pistons are 7-8, looking really good after last year, just looking like crap, but they are playing good basketball right now. The Pacers 6-7, Hawks 6-8, the Heat 5-7. These are teams like the Heat, the Pacers are teams that you look at as teams that are going to probably be up in the 3 or 4 range, coming close down to the end of the season. The Chicago Bulls are up there, the Milwaukee Bucks. That's a big surprise because you're thinking with Giannis, you're thinking with Dame, you're thinking with that situation. Doc Rivers is there. I've read things where he might get fired. They got rid of Griffin last year for no reason at all, outside of maybe one of those players didn't like him. I don't know, but they dumped him, and then now you're dealing with what you got. Giannis that might want to be traded. There's a lot of issues there with the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that's a big story this year in the first month or the first 15 games or so of the season. Milwaukee, very, very interesting to see what happens there. The Sixers, no surprise. No surprise there when you have when this is the face of your franchise, when this is the guy that is not going to play back-to-backs. They just signed Paul George. He don't play back-to-backs either. He barely plays. He has played more. So the Philadelphia Sixers, I don't feel sorry for them or their fans. They're terrible. I'm sure there's some that are good fans. I'm sure there's some that are, knowledgeable fans that understand what's going on. But there's no way you can look at that man and, be excited with the future of your team in that guy's hands. Whether you want to say he's hurt, I get it. He had Bell's palsy, or he had that issue during a game. I understand that's terrible. I get he's got the lower body issues. I understand that, but when you look at the way the guy plays basketball, he's looking for a foul 90% of the time down the floor, and he gets that nasty foul 90% time down the floor. It's disgusting how he flips and flops all over the place. It's not my brand of basketball. It's not what I like to watch. And it drives me crazy that he gets away with it. And then he's complaining that he's hurt all the time. And that's just a half of it. I could go on and on and on about Joel Embiid. Not taking away the fact that he is an MVP caliber talent. He's already won one. Not taking away the fact that he could be the best player on the floor when he is on the floor, healthy. But there's nothing you can say to me that can change my mind that he's one of the best bigs in the league right now when he can't even get on the floor. This is the Joel Embiid that we know. There's no more if he's healthy, when he's healthy. He's not. This is who you get. You got a guy scoring 16 points a game, and 10 of them are coming from the free throw line where he's grabbing in his butt and he's smelling it before he shoots. No way. I can't do it. That he's terrible. He's awful. Again, I understand and respect what he could do or what he could have been, but he's not. He's not that dude. And it's really, really hard for me to get with it. And it's really, really, it's like I felt sorry for Sixers fans because it's all they have. It's all they have to grasp onto. And I try to look at it in my situation And I mean, and then you try to grab on, okay, there's Maxey, there's Tyrese Maxey. I'm going to grab onto him. We just signed Paul George. Oh, shoot. Paul George is in the same situation as Joel Embiid, maybe even worse in some situations where the guy's always hurt. I try to sympathize for him. But when they keep coming up with Joel's better than Joker, the Joel better than Joker stuff is just mind-boggling. And then when they try to make like a sob story for him, the one thing I do agree with him on is the way he handled that reporter Marcus Hayes. Was it Marcus Hayes? Whatever that reporter's name was. I side with him on that in that situation. I am not I don't believe, or I don't respect those kind of people or those kind of news, like columnists, whatever they're called, journalists. I don't know. I don't respect those kind of people that use that stuff. Just like the dude that's here with here in Denver that I think it's Sean Kohler, whatever his name is. I don't respect that type of journalism or that type of column. I don't respect it. You can look at it and it's following entertainment and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's one way to look at it, but I don't respect it. So from that aspect, I side with Joel Embiid 100% on how he handled that. And I don't think you should put your hands on somebody else, but I also don't think you should talk about their family without at least talking to them first and say, hey, I'm running this. This is how I'm going to do it. Do you have a problem with it? Is this okay if I use your that's one thing. But again, I'm not in that world. I don't even know if that's a process. I would imagine it could be a process if you respected that person's feelings that you're writing about, but obviously it's not. So I don't know that process, so I'm not even going to even try to go that route. But I do support him, and I do feel like he was right in that sense. But as far as everything else goes with Joel Embiid, pass. So I'm not surprised the Eastern Conference is shaking up the way it is in Philadelphia right now. Is not even involved in the Eastern Conference. The Western Conference, the Golden State Warriors are sitting up there at the top at 10-2, and I mean it's pretty good. Like that. Oh, what's going on? There we go. It's pretty interesting, you know, that they have. Because there was times where you had Steph Curry was injured. He was out. So he wasn't even in there. And they have scenario. They kept it up. You know, I'm not trying to search for a different way to say it, but they did what they needed to do. What's the guy? Kuminga is pretty freaking good. Wiggins, you know, I like what he's doing so far this year. But Steph Curry and this Golden State Warriors team, it's interesting. That's interesting how they're sitting up there 10-2. They're hanging on. They lost Klay Thompson. They're hanging on. Oklahoma City Thunder 11-3. No surprise there. No shock there. They did lose Chet Holmgren. He's going to be out for some time. So we'll see how that goes. They're still waiting on the world's greatest free agent signing ever, Isaiah Hartenstein. Okay. I feel like that Caruso trade was a hell of a lot more impactful to this team than Hartenstein. But again, I guess I don't know. But anyway, the Houston Rockets 10-4. Ime Udoka over there with the coach. I just getting those guys. I mean, he was over there in Boston, and I mean. Ooh boy, like that team is. They got Sengun over there. They're looking pretty freaking loaded. I mean, are they ahead of schedule? Those is kind of what I'm trying to say. Are they ahead of schedule? Are they like what? Is it too soon? I mean, is it too soon for those guys? So that's interesting for me. I'm not going to call it like a crazy storyline, but it's interesting for me to watch that team. The Los Angeles Lakers. This is curious for me. This sucks. This sucks for me because I am a longtime Laker fan. Dislike. I don't like the Lakers. I've grown up not liking the Lakers, but it's hard for me this year because they have one of my favorite rookies, a kid who I got to watch play locally, Dalton Connect. Is an absolute Oh man, this dude. I put my money where my mouth is with this guy. He's going to win the Rookie of the Year, and he's probably going to be one of the best players in the NBA within the next 3 to 4 years. Um, Next score, definitely the best scorers, one of the best scorers in the league, and it sucks that he's on the Lakers. JJ Redick is coaching, and so far so good, right? There's some things that you're going to have to they're going to come up that you're going to experience with the Lakers that JJ is going to have to go through. There's going to be times where the plays or the sets that he draws up doesn't work and or doesn't gets picked up. You know, the first couple times through the leagues, you get picked up, or the first couple times through these games and get film out there. These teams are smart. They're going to look and see what sets you're running, and he's got a great mind for basketball. The things that he wants to do, even he's got one of the greatest minds in basketball there on his team with LeBron James. So I think what they can do there is limitless. But the biggest thing I think that's going to hurt the Lakers is to see where this ends up. To see where that ends up. Right now, Bronny James, is a G League player that doesn't go out of town because he can't stay in the hotel. That's what I read. I don't know if it's true. That's what I read. That's the hotels he can't stay in those. He's Bronny James. He can't stay in the hotels. What they're doing with him, I don't understand it, but I do know. I don't understand it in the build up for Bronny James, but I do understand what they're doing for LeBron James. It's giving the 40-year-old triple-double machine life. He turns 40 in a couple weeks, I think, and he's averaging he's dominating this team. He's one of the best players in the league right now. And he's not my GOAT. He's not my GOAT. But right now, I can't deny what he's doing. So the Lakers are there. The Suns are 9-5. KD was playing great. The Suns look like what they were supposed to, like everything's coming together, right? Everything was looking right, what they're supposed to do with the trades. When they got Bill, when they got KD, everything was looking like it was supposed to. Then KD gets hurt, unfortunately. They're 9-5, still up there. Denver Nuggets lost 2 in a row because, like I said, they don't give a crap about this tournament. They don't care. This is kind of an issue over here. Is their defense is terrible. 115. They're not scoring as many points. 116. And the thing with the Denver Nuggets right now is Nuggets fans are losing their brains because their rotation's not right. The non-Joker minutes are still a problem. So there's going to be some getting right with the Denver Nuggets if they're going to be up here with teams like Oklahoma City, the Lakers, the Suns. And I'm still curious to see how long Golden State stays up here, but it's looking like all of this is going to, get jarbled up here pretty soon. And the cream will rise to the top, so to speak. The Timberwolves 8-6. We'll see what that looks like with Randall. The Grizzlies, Ja Morant, if he was playing, I think this would be a little bit different. But he is out right now. Eddie, their rookie big man. Whew. And then you have DeMar DeRozan, and then you have I just forgot his name. I was just even talking about him. He went off last night. Anyway, De'Aaron Fox just went absolutely ape last night. The Kings are getting up there. The Western Conference and the Dallas rounding out the top 10 with 7-7. Dallas is interesting to keep an eye on. If they keep having the defensive slides and the skips that they have, we might there might be a trade scenario going up there, and I think it might involve the Denver Nuggets. I don't know. I just said that. But if certain things keep going the way they're going, I think there's going to be a trade explored, and I think it's going to be between these two teams potentially, because that's the only way I see it looking. Or also this team and this team could be making trades too as well. It's time. If things don't change, it's time. If 27 doesn't get right, it's time. I mean, there's options out there. We need to look at them. We need to explore them, but it's time, I think. So that is kind of what the NBA looks like right now. And that's going to do it for me as far as the show goes. I know Time went by fast or way too long, even if you stayed with me this long. Thank you very much if you did. If not, we'll get better. It's my first time back. It's my first day. So we'll get better. Anyway, before we get out of here again, this is Ball Sports. I am Matt Mascarenas. If you want to get at me, if you want to interact with me, you can do that on Twitter at Matt. You can do that on X. I'm sorry. What was it? Let's see. I don't want to screw it up because I screwed it up the last time. It's Matt Mascarenas 1 on X at 5280 Sports Radio on X if you want to get a hold of the station and see everything else we do here at 5280sports.com. Is also the place you can go find all our blogs, all our write-ups, and our podcast and shows as well. But that is going to do it for me. I am Matt Mascarenas. We'll see you when I see you, hopefully on Wednesday. Peace out. Have fun.